Alright guys, in the shadow of dying gods and fading empires, set in an age of war, faith, collapse, and rebirth, there is a Total War mod for Medieval 2 that every player needs to give a try. East of Rome, a sprawling and historically rich total overhaul from Medieval 2 transports players to the twilight of classical civilization and the dawn of medieval power. It is probably, in fact, the quintessential late Roman era mod for Total War. Originally a continuation of the Invasio Barbarorum series, East of Rome sought to capture one of the most volatile and transitional periods in human history. And though the mod was abandoned for years, a new effort is breathing life back into it, and what's already here is nothing short of astonishing. I've been playing it for a few weeks now, and so today I'll be going through everything you need to know about this mod and why you need to check it out next. Now, before we dive straight in, if you don't own Total War Medieval 2, you can pick up the game and its expansions with a massive 88% off on Instant Gaming, a reputable game key reseller that I've been using for a little while now. They have a great roster of games on sale like Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Crusader Kings 3 Chapter 4, or even the entire Total War catalog, all with big discounts. So if you're thinking about buying, make sure to click the link below to get your games for cheap and support the channel at the same time. Now let's get back to the video. At the heart of East of Rome lies its dual campaign structure. Split into two sprawling campaigns, you've got the Death of the Gods and End of Antiquity, each offering deep historical scope and roleplay potential with tons of playable campaign start dates, factions, you name it. Death of the Gods begins in 361 AD with the last pagan emperor of Rome, Julian, taking power. It charts the fragmentation of Rome, the Gothic Wars, and the deepening chaos of the West. You'll find campaigns set in the Saxon Shore, 363 AD, the Fall of Rome, 395 AD, the Last Roman, 438 AD, and Majorianus in 457 AD, among a few others. End of Antiquity, on the other hand, begins in 519 AD, pushing us into the Justinian period, with campaigns centered around the Vandalic War, 533 AD, Restauratio Imperii, Justinian's reconquest efforts, and the end of Antiquity itself, ending in 630 AD, just before the rise of Islam and the massive Arab conquests that would change the face of the Mediterranean forever. The start dates are all fantastic, they play really well. I played a couple myself, as you can see in the video, and I've been blown away at the sheer variety and depth of what's on offer here. It's kind of like the Era's chapter mods for Rome 2, Attila, and Napoleon, only this time for Medieval 2, which I absolutely love. The campaign map is a masterpiece in historical scope and focus. It zeroes in on the Eastern Mediterranean and the Middle East, the epicenter of 6th century imperial conflict, trade, and cultural flourishing, from the deserts of Arabia to the steppes of the Avars, and from Constantinople to Ctesiphon. This is a sandbox of collapsing empires and emerging powers, and it's all handcrafted, filled with interesting assets, unique landscapes. It's just a brilliant map to look at and enjoy in a Total War campaign. It all comes with a host of new or redone mechanics, including a new religion system. There are now 10 new religions, ranging from the various forms of Christianity, early Christianity, to Zoroastrianism and pagan sects. Every character has their own religion as well, and this matters. You know, religion isn't just flavor. It determines loyalty, political behavior, and the state religion itself is defined by your faction leader, which is quite cool, quite customizable. This leads to dynamic internal politics as well. Changing rulers can swing entire nations, religious alignment, plunging your empire into instability potentially, or driving a reformation, which is quite cool. But in its essence, this is a campaign of survival, no matter what faction you're playing, whether you're playing as the faltering Eastern Roman Empire, the aggressive Sasanian Aranshar, or the resilient Ghassanids, sandwiched between titans. The choices are nuanced nuanced and brutally real, align with your general's beliefs or crush dissent, spread orthodoxy or tolerate sectarian divides. There's a lot of choice here, which I really, really like. And Medieval 2 being Medieval 2, it really kind of aligns with how the mechanics of the game already works in this mod. Playable factions include, but aren't limited to, I'm not going to cover all of it. There are tons of factions here, but there's the Eastern Roman Empire, really cool campaign, Sasanian Empire. You've got the Ostrogothic Kingdom, the Langobardi, Franks, the Alemanni, the Banu Ghassan, Banu Lakham, minor kingdoms like Lazica, Kartli. You've got steppe powers like the Hephthalites, Bulgars, Avars, Sklaveni, and every one of these factions and all the others have unique unit rosters, religious frameworks, characters, political systems, regional challenges. You're not just managing armies, you're balancing one of the most turbulent periods in history. Over on the battle side of things, the mod features over 250 new units, all painstakingly researched and rendered to reflect the military systems of late antiquity. You'll command Comitatensis and Limitane legions, Cataphracts and Clibanarii, Arab desert raiders, Frankish warbands and Sarmatian lancers, war elephants, steppe cavalry, and Gothic heavy infantry, and everything in between. There is just such a huge amount of variety when it comes to unit rosters, and they're all really well done, polished, and super immersive. And when I mean immersive, I mean the visual fidelity here is phenomenal. The detailed uniforms, armor sets, the shield patterns reflecting the complex multicultural nature of the time. Expect to see units with Persian lamellar, Roman lorica squamata, and tribal dress, often within the same army. It's absolutely beautiful to see. Tactically, of course, the battles are much more about morale management, shock power, and combined arms. I mean, you can still obviously use heavy cavalry meta. It's alive and well, but you can't rely on it. You need skirmishers and light units that play vital roles depending on terrain and faction. Religious traits even influence generals' performance, loyalty, and battlefield behavior. So there's a lot of layers and dimensions here into how a battle turns out. The tactical layers of what's going on here is very, very diverse, and it takes a little while actually to wrap your head around it and really start using tactics effectively in the battles here. East of Rome, though, is more than just a mod. It's a playable thesis on the fall of classical civilization. It very effectively captures the disintegration of old orders and the messy birth of the medieval world. While it still does have rough edges, this is Medieval 2 after all, it avoids the common pitfall of just another Roman mod by diving deeper into the complexity of religion, local politics, succession crises. It's a total war mod where internal management, the decisions you make, faith, loyalty, all of this is just as important as battlefield prowess and your tactical experience. Overall, I think it's simply a brilliant mod. I think Medieval 2 has loads of them, but I've never really heard of East of Rome and not played it until recently, and I'm very glad I did. Perhaps more than any other mod, it feels alive. Every turn, every decision feels like it could tip your empire into complete chaos or rebirth in more ways than one. This is a game of faith, not just force. So if you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend you download East of Rome. I've dropped a link to the video description to the mod where you can check it out, fire up Medieval 2, and get ready to choose your gods, your loyalties, your legacy. As you can see, there is plenty to get into here. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below, and let me know what you think of East of Rome for Medieval 2 and what other mods you'd like me to cover on the channel next. Subscribe for more videos just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.